I sat on the metal chair and guided my mid-commander to sit beside me and operate the recording equipment. With her nod, we began. My name is Visari, High Commander of the Kuta-class warship Visaraya. Beside me operating the recording equipment is Mid-Commander Valina. The galaxy date is 0C3/200C2, 8/100C3, 93/100C4, 10/100C5, 13/100C6, 65/100C7. I am interrogating Katariv, mid-flight operator of the Kalina-class scout ship named Vitukova, to uncover and document her disappearance. Tariv, this is a Class 6 investigation. Do you understand what is being asked of you, and what the consequences are for inaction? I read off the procedure manual, knowing my ass would be on the line if any of this was called into question. There are only a few classifications with a higher designation. I understand. He covered as much of his body as he could with his tail while looking down towards the desk. A sporadic shaking enveloped him every so often. Good, I replied. This is how the investigation will proceed. When I tell you to begin, you will start from when your crew received the mission. What prompted you to deviate? The events after the deviation all the way up to our arrival. Do you understand, Tariv? Yes, Visari. He responded with a sigh, his ears pinned back against his head. You may drop the formalities, trying to comfort him as best I could. Honestly, I don't know what information I'll be able to obtain from this guy. He barely acts like an officer anymore. Who am I to judge though? I can't imagine what it would be like to be adrift in the galaxy for 5 C4s of light, not knowing if help or the end of your life support will greet you first. Listen, I understand you're... No, you don't. His eyes shifted up toward me. His shaking turned into an uncontrollable chuckle. We're not alone, Commander. There is intelligent life out there and we've fucked it all up. First contact. He shot up from the desk, getting my mid and I to reflexively reach for our energy weapons. My crew is dead because of this war. Another species capable of space travel knows of our existence and thinks we're hostile. We must go to the highest. Calm down, officer. My mid matching his volume, trying to get his attention. Tariv. I needed his attention back on me. We need to know what's out there. Lena, go to the bridge and contact Central. Alert of possible classification 10 scenario. Yes, Commander. She ran out of the room and ordered in and enlisted to ensure I wasn't alone. A possible Class 10. Not even the current Great Nation War is worthy of that classification. Reserved for first contact with sapient species and extinction level events. I need to get a handle on this fast. It's possible that he could just be delusional from being in space for so long. Tariv, look at me. I lowered my voice to help him calm down. You need to start from the beginning, remember? Tell me about how you received your mission. Tariv sat back in his chair, wrapping his tail around his body and looking back down at the metallic table between us. I followed his lead and sat across the table, my fur relaxing a bit as the situation subsided. Yes, we received a mission to scout out new planets for the war effort. The highest ordered us to find any harvestable planets and send the coordinates back to Central. They would then send the harvester fleet. You know, that wasn't what our original purpose was, right? We're not warriors. We were explorers, set on finding new and unexplored lands. We didn't sign up for this war. I know, but we need everyone and every ship to support the war effort. You will not come back to a welcoming home if we lost those purists. Even with every able body supporting the war effort, we are still most likely to lose. In best case scenario, the highest, the government and its citizens will board as many colony ships as possible, and flee to the stars in hope of a new planet. Worst case scenario, all of us perish for not being pure. I know. Well, we were off on our mission when we stopped for a routine maintenance check. We disengaged from hyperspeed as soon as our sensors relayed nothing of any significance was in our vicinity. About 30 C7s passed when we picked up a small object on scanners. It was on a trajectory to pass right in front of us. Our High Commander ordered us to inspect the object. When I imaged it, I noticed it had abnormal geometry and brought it to the High Command. He ordered a yellow alert retrieval into the cargo bay. It was odd. It had antennas and a disc of some sort, clearly made deliberately. Any chance it is a device of the purest? My curiosity piqued at this possibility, although I knew they shouldn't be in this direction of space. We thought the same, so we brought it in for analysis. What we saw was beyond our imagination. What? I noticed my own eagerness revealing itself. It was a golden, flat, circular object. Is that all? I replied. No, it's what it contained. It had a voice speaking some sort of language I could not understand. It had pictures of symbols which our onboard computer deciphered as mathematical in nature. It had pictures of atmospheric flying machines. It had beings that looked a bit like our pets, but much taller and stronger. There was sound as well. Our computers deciphered some of it as music. The beings were eating, laughing, crying, building and learning. One of them even looked to be above the atmosphere of its own planet. Tavir seemed to still be in shock about the entire situation. A few moments passed before his face began to dim once again. It was here we knew what we had found. We knew the true purpose of the Vitakova was in our cargo bay. Proof of another sapient species. The war was no longer the highest priority for the Vitakova. After all, our purpose when she was built was to reach our paws to the distant stars. Is this where the deviation occurred? I needed the timeline of this recording to be exact for the higher-ups. Yes. Our computer analysed approximate age and trajectory of the craft, and we veered course. We sent a relay drone on a course to Central Command. He gazed at his own reflection in the two-way glass. I'm aware. We searched for 4 C4s, yet the only thing we found was the wreckage of a purist ship. We were on our way back before we found you. Anyway, I need you to continue. A new species, a purist ship, and a missing scout ship. This once empty and desolate sector of our galaxy is now a possible Class 10. I still need proof though. Tariv seems mostly put together mentally, but what if he was just coping? What if the purist got to him, and this is some sort of misinformation? He didn't have the golden disc. He didn't have records of this interaction. He had nothing but his escape ship that only held his life support. The highest in Central wouldn't have a lot to go on based on this. They're busy commanding a planetary war, too far to understand the immediate events taking place in real time. Please excuse me for a moment. Sure. He seemed almost delighted for the break in the interrogation. I walked out of the interrogation room and pulled up my communicator. Yes, High Commander? Mid-Commander Lena responded. I'm confirming the launch of the relay drone. I also want to add information to the notes as follows. Possible Class 10 scenario, first contact. We have rescued a mid-flight operator Katariv from the missing Vitakova. Katariv believes he saw a new sapient species capable of spaceflight. Unknown warship spotted in the same location by the Vitakova. Not sure of intentions, or if this new species was mistaken for a new purist warship. High Commander's actions. For the safety of the Valoan citizens and the government, we've deviated from our mission a few parsecs away from when this drone was launched to investigate. The Visaraya is now on course to investigate the location where these events occurred. The drone will be launched in a couple of C7s, Lena responded with a noticeable reluctance in her voice. Good. Inform our 2 accompanied escort battleships of the change. Set alert level to black. I ended the call and returned to the interrogation room. Please continue, I stated, while taking my seat across from Tariv. Yes, where was I? You decided to deviate from your mission, as we have. Yes, well, we ended up arriving at a system we believe the craft came from. It was a beautiful system, at least from what we could tell. We kept a parsec away and sent in a recon drone to scout. The images it brought back were beautiful. Massive gas main planets, rocky main planets full of resources, a minor planetary belt full of minerals, a main planet with massive rings around it, a beautiful warm orange glow from the star, so many areas that can support life with just a little push and reorganization of elements. Everything under this star's influence was magical. So many colours, so many beautiful celestial bodies, all under the influence of a single star. Tariv seemed to glow as he continued to talk about his crew's findings. Life seemed to jolt back into him. This does sound amazing, but I need to ask you to continue. I need to know what a purist ship was doing there. Was the Vitakova responsible for its demise? If so, what caused your ship to be abandoned? Where is the rest of your... I know, he interjected. Our recon drone's first mission was of the main planets. There are 12 of them. One of them and its moon had a new species. A place they called Earth, according to the recon drone. So you've seen them? Do you have anything to corroborate your claims? I couldn't believe this. If he'd seen them, took computer-verified pictures, this could be the great... No, just my word, he said, in a sigh. I let out a disappointed sigh of my own. Continue, please. There are 12 main planets. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Humanity, Virtus, and Themis. We couldn't get a clear surface picture of Mercury, Venus, and the last 4 planets due to either the star's light interfering or the orbit path of the planets being too far away from the drone. Tariv shifted in his chair, leaning over the table towards me. This is when we detected a warship-like object closing in on us, departing from their minor planets. They have warships? I'm not too sure what to make of this. On the one paw, I need to investigate the matter and gather as much detail as possible to ensure Central and Highest can understand what is happening. On the other paw, there is the safety of my crew. Yes, our detector scanned it to be a bit smaller than the Akuta class. A species capable of making the largest known ships of the Valoan people is concerning. Our people need to know more about this species and their capabilities. Deviating was the correct action. What happened next? It appeared out of nowhere directly in front of us. No trailing energy detailing its path, and no need to slow to a stop. It appeared with a big gravity and energy wave that crashed against our shields. He slouched back in his chair. It was a boxy thing, much larger than our scout ship. It had a light metallic colour across the entire ship. Did it attack you? We don't need another enemy. I would much prefer the species that we always wondered of existing to be our friend. No, on the contrary, it had no weapons. It stopped directly in front of us and paused. He turned his gaze toward the enlisted beside me. What would you have done? It's not about what others would have done, I replied. We need to know what you did. I shit my pants is what I did. I focused all scanner instruments on this new spacecraft. The standoff went on for quite some time before the ship decided to make the first move by rotating to face about 10 degrees to our left. His paws started the periodic quivering again. A purist warship dropped out of hyperspeed beside us, guns at the ready and everything. I looked over to the enlisted. I found the same shock on his face that I felt. I turned back towards Tariv. What were they doing in that sector? I'm not sure. Tailing us? Trying to find resources of their own? Your guess is as good as mine. He tightened his grip on his tail. The new species spacecraft proceeded to launch 2 boxy metallic objects from its belly. They were chemically propelled, one headed for each of us. It shot at you? My heart slowed, and I felt it squeeze as I realised all our hopes of finding friendship among the stars were diminished. I thought so too. So did the purist. The weapons crew was told to fire a warning shot near the warship, and I was ordered to put our ship in full reverse and try to outmaneuver the ordnance. The purist chose to fire on the projectile first and continue their barrage on the enemy vessel. When the ordnance fired at them exploded, the one headed for us paused and retreated as quickly as it could back towards the ship. You could see the sheer terror on my High Commander's face as he quickly ordered the weapons team to cancel the request to open fire. Actually, it's the same look you have now. I gathered my composure after realising what Tariv was telling me. Ordnance doesn't retreat. They fired on what may have been some sort of welcome party. Did the other small vessel make it? No, the purist destroyed it as well when it manoeuvred away from us. A silence enveloped the entire room. Tariv took the time to take a deep breath and continue. The warship-sized craft, upon realising its vessels were gone, desperately turned away. The purist was sending hit after hit against the ship's shields until they just weren't. What do you mean? Out of the command window, all we saw was a flash of light radiating from a thin, pure white concentrated beam that came from their system. It was lightning fast. You could only see it if you didn't blink in that moment. He started speaking faster as he recalled the entire battle. Our computers went insane, flashing red, all sorts of early warning lights went off. Operation status lights automatically showed black throughout the ship. The alert siren started blaring throughout the command floor. A wave of heat and plasma radiated from the light beam's path. Our shields got knocked down to around 85% just from being in the vicinity of that wave. There was barely anything left of the purest warship. There was a knock on the door before Lena came through. She put her snout in my ear and moved her paw to block Tariq's ability to hear what she was saying. We've arrived 3 parsecs away from the system. We also sent in a recon drone to investigate. Good. Return to the command floor. I'll be there soon. I turned to look at Tariq. I would like you to join me on the command room floor. We've returned to the system you... What? What have you done? I thought this was a rescue mission. He jumped from his chair. I sprang up along with the enlisted. Listen, we need to see what we're dealing with here. We need to take as many scans as possible and return the information to our people. If not, they could be caught off guard, wiped out on 2 fronts. I gestured with both of my paws to communicate with Tariq to calm down. On second thought, I think it's better if you stay. The enlisted here, Kavaz, will continue to accompany you. Please continue to provide any information you can to him. I turned to face the enlisted, Kavaz, on my way out. I'll send another person to help you. His voice started to fade as I left the room. Wait, careful of the planets. The planets are... Yes, careful of the planets. You've already warned us of where that warship came from. Mid-Commander Lena greeted me. Sorry, we stopped around 3 parsecs away from the system and sent out a recon drone. Good. Our shape shouldn't be recognizable from the background of space at this distance. A couple of C5s passed while our drone was scanning the system. Lena tapped my arm. The drone is returning, High Commander. It should arrive in... Commanders! A low flight operator shouted. The recon drone is within a parsec, and information can be received. It is reporting a warship-sized craft following it. We need that recon drone's information. At the same time, we have confirmation of another species. If I leave now without the drone, I can still inform Central of the species. If I wait for the drone, I could return with all the information needed to evaluate this species. If we make it home. The LFO shouted again, interrupting my thoughts. Commanders, it stopped. It's possible it spotted us. Wait for the recon drone to board, I replied, hoping its pause would allow enough time to recover the drone. The ship is retreating, Commanders. The recon drone is now starting to transfer information on the system. The system has a minor planetary belt. Keep your scanners there, I interjected, remembering Tariq's words of keeping an eye on the planets. The LFO continued. 1 star, 5 rock main planets, 4 gas main planets, and 2 main planets of unknown structure. Wait, that's 11. I ordered the LFO to check the data again. There should be 12. No, Commander, there are only 11 main planets. The report says it's gathered the information from the species' own communication devices. The main planets are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Humanity, and Virtus. Is there no Themis? I replied. No, I don't see any. Every single positional alarm on each of the flight officers' stations went off at the same time. Beep, beep, planetary collision inbound, pull away, pull away. Beep, beep, planetary collision inbound, pull away, pull away. I don't understand, Commander, we're stationary. Panic was setting in as the FOs were trying to comprehend the situation. A planet can't move like that. It doesn't make sense. Just pull away, change course, just get out of whatever it detects. Before the FOs had a chance to steer to another course, space seemed to bend in front of us. What followed was a massive gravity wave, an electromagnetic energy burst from the center point. A gargantuan ship, the size of a small main planet, took its place. It looked similar to Tariq's report, boxy, except this one didn't look metallic like the last ship or ours. It had strange patterns on it, like it was trying to mimic the look of deep space. It actually made it quite difficult to see with the naked eye. It even had a minor gravitational pull to it. We're being locked by weapons, Commander. How many? What type? Unknown. Unknown. So this is what their warships look like. Is this the only piece of the personal log you found from the sector? Other than the first relay drone, yes, Central. It was manually shot out of the Versariah using the High Commander's code. We assume the rest of the drones didn't make it out of the sector. Is there any trace of the Versariah or her crew, Commander? No. Very well. Dismissed. Thanks for listening.